Donald Trump announced on his Truth social media platform that J.D. Vance will be his running mate for the 2024 presidential election. But who is Vance, and what are his positions on key issues? In this video, we will explore these questions. Stay tuned. On July 15th, during the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, Donald Trump posted on his social media, "After lengthy deliberation and thought, and considering the tremendous talents of many others, I have decided that the person best suited to assume the position of Vice President of the United States is Senator J.D. Vance of the great state of Ohio." In recent months, J.D. Vance's name repeatedly surfaced as a potential vice presidential pick for Trump. Despite his past criticism of Trump, particularly during the 2016 election, Vance's chances improved over time, ultimately making him the top contender for the position. Vance once called himself a never Trump guy, born in 1984 in Middletown, Ohio. As James Donald Bowman, his childhood was marked by poverty and abuse, with his mother struggling with drug addiction. After graduating from high school, he enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps and was deployed to Iraq. After his service, he attended Ohio State University, graduating with a BA in political science and philosophy. He then attended Yale Law School, where he earned a JD degree. During his time at Yale, one of his professors persuaded him to write a memoir. Vance, who had changed his last name to his mother's birth name, wrote Hillbilly Elegy, a memoir of a family and culture in crisis. The book was praised by critics and readers, reaching the New York Times bestseller list in 2016 and 2017. It was later adapted into a movie. After practicing law for under 2 years, Vance moved to San Francisco to work in the tech industry as a venture capitalist. Hillbilly Elegy gave Vance significant recognition and brought him into the media spotlight. With his newfound fame, he pursued his ambitions in politics. During the 2016 election, Vance was an outspoken critic of Donald Trump. He wrote in a USA Today column, "Trump's actual policy proposals, such as they are, range from immoral to absurd." In an interview, Vance described Trump as cultural heroin. He called Trump reprehensible in a Twitter post and labeled himself a never Trump guy. Vance did not vote for Trump in 2016.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him.
However, when Vance decided to pursue a political career in the Senate, he realized he needed Trump's endorsement to have a chance, first in the Ohio Republican Senate primary and then in the general election. Since then, he has become a staunch Trump supporter, won the election, and became a senator at 38. But why did Trump choose a previously never Trump guy as his running mate? The easy answer is that Vance could help Trump solidify his lead in the Rust Belt. States like Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania are crucial for Trump to win the 2024 election, as they were in 2016. Vance, with his background, embodies the experiences of many white Trump voters in these states. However, there are other reasons for this choice. One significant factor is the close relationship between Vance and Donald Trump Jr. Reports suggest that Trump's sons, particularly Don Jr., advocated for their father to choose Vance as the nominee, while Trump himself initially considered other candidates like Doug Burgum. Another reason relates to the dynamics within the Republican Party and Trump's perception of it. In 2016, Trump was an outsider and needed to reassure traditional Republicans, which is why he nominated Mike Pence as his running mate. However, this is no longer the case. Today, the Republican Party is undoubtedly the Trump Party, as evidenced by the recent election of the Speaker of the House. Given that Trump cannot run for the presidency again in 2028 due to the 22nd Amendment, he needs to select a successor or heir. For this purpose, J.D. Vance is a perfect fit. He is young, a good writer, a compelling speaker, and comes from a region crucial for presidential elections. It seems that this reason is the primary one behind Trump's pick, as he is confident of his victory in 2024. Now let's see Vance's position on different issues. Generally, Vance has been described as a neo-reactionary, national conservative, and right-wing populist. His economic views are considered unorthodox within the Republican Party. He supports unionization, tariffs, and antitrust policy. On social issues, Vance is a strongly socially conservative, opposing abortion, same-sex marriage, and gun control. In an interview, when asked whether abortion laws should include exceptions for rape and incest, Vance said,
"Look, I think two wrongs don't make a right. At the end of the day, we're talking about an unborn baby."
In another podcast interview, he said, "I certainly would like abortion to be illegal nationally." However, recently, especially after his name was brought up for the vice presidency, he moderated his view and specified that he supports exceptions for rape, incest, and preserving a mother's life. Vance's views on foreign policy are closely aligned with Trump's. He has called China the biggest threat to the United States and argued that the war in Ukraine distracts the US from focusing on this threat. Speaking of Ukraine, Vance opposes US aid to Ukraine. Days before the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Vance said, "I don't really care what happens to Ukraine one way or the other." Since the beginning of the war, he has consistently voted against aid packages to Ukraine and stated on multiple occasions that Ukraine will have to cede some territory to the Russians.
This was always going to end in negotiation. The idea that Ukraine was going to throw Russia back to the 1991 borders was preposterous. Nobody actually believed it.
Vance is also a strong supporter of Israel and has said, culturally, morally, politically, it is a real ally in the sense that we're not just sort of sharing interests, we are actually sharing common values. After October 7, he repeatedly criticized the Biden administration for not helping Israel finish the job in Gaza, while many critics believe the US should hold Israel more accountable. Although the polls are still very close, and it's too early to predict a presidential election with confidence, if Trump manages to win the election, J.D. Vance will become the third youngest US vice president in the history. He is a young man with an interesting background and also controversial comments and changing views. Thank you for joining, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.